Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I am very happy to be in your midst today. When Madhumati Pushkarni Mataji called me and requested I should speak to all of you, I was very happy. And especially when I heard that there is a Moscow connection and that most of you, if not all of you, were connected to Krishna consciousness at some point during your stay in Moscow, or that you have some kind of connection to Moscow somehow. So I have myself not been to Moscow for many years. I also have many fond memories. And some of you perhaps I met there the first time. So since this is a session you have regularly on the chanting of the holy names on Japa, so of course the subject is very vast and one can look up thousands of verses from the scriptures literally that speak about the importance and the various methods and the philosophy behind the chanting of the holy names. This is our heart and soul, because the chanting of the holy names is the most important spiritual process for us. Whilst Srila Prahlad Maharaj has in the Srimad Bhagavatam mentioned 9 processes of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanevedanam, Iti Punsarpita Vishnu, Bhakti Navalakshana. So Navalakshana, so the 9 limbs or types of devotional service to Lord Krishna or Vishnu have been identified by Prahlad Maharaj. At the same time, Srila Prabhupada has explained that each of these 9 processes is perfect and complete. And Rupa Goswami has identified that there are different exemplars of each of these processes. Exemplars means perfect examples. So for Shravanam, there is a perfect example, for Kirtanam, a perfect example, and that is a topic in itself. And Srila Rupa Goswami has mentioned that one can attain perfection in devotional service by accepting even one of these 9 processes of devotional service. If a person does just that one thing, he or she can become perfect. Now, however, in this day and age, in Kali Yuga, it may not be so easy or even possible to accept so many of the other things. For example, one may accept the process of offering prayers or deity worship, for example. But whilst these things are certainly done by devotees, Even today, a lot of importance is given by us in ISKCON for these processes like deity worship and offering prayers. But nevertheless, they cannot be done in isolation. They cannot be independently performed. So Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that because the holy name is the most important process in Kali Yuga, all the other processes, as important as they are to be seen along with the chanting of the holy names and not independently. Therefore, when we do deity worship, we see that the mantras that are chanted contain the holy names, number one. And number two, as we perform deity worship also, we not only remember the Lord, but we also chant his names. We chant the Mahamantra as we do the worship. So all other processes of devotional service involve in some way or the other the holy name of Lord Krishna. So the holy name is that one common thread that goes through all the 9 processes of devotional service. It serves as the foundation or the fundamental principle of all of them. So when we chant the holy names, in a sense, all the other processes are automatically included. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, everything comes in. So primarily, we accept the process of the holy name by Shravanam and Kirtanam, by hearing and by chanting. But hearing and chanting cannot be done without Smaranam, in the sense that when we chant and we hear, we must do so attentively. When we speak of attentively doing something, we automatically include the mind. So that is why we see Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. So if we want to do attentive chanting, then we must make it a practice or a habit to chant and hear more and more. The more we practice chanting, the more automatically we become inclined to do it attentively. But it's not only the mind, it's also the intelligence. Therefore, with our intelligence, we hear the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. We hear about the importance of practicing various types of devotional service, especially the chanting of the holy name. We understand the tattva of the holy name, Nama Tattva. We understand what the holy name is. How is the holy name different from any other sound vibration? Now, each of these is a topic in itself. But intellectually understanding is also important. It is not the most important thing because the holy name transcends even the intelligence. It transcends the mind. It is on the spiritual platform. But nevertheless, Srila Prabhupada instituted the system of hearing the lectures of Krishna consciousness, of reading his books, which contain the explanations of the philosophy and theology. So, with our intelligence, we have to try to understand what the holy name is so that we can remind ourselves when we are chanting our japa, what is it that we are chanting? Are we chanting some ordinary sound vibration? Are we just saying something mundane? All day long, we are hearing and speaking ordinary words of this world. But Krishna consciousness means that we should try to engage our mind, intelligence, and senses in chanting and hearing and remembering transcendental sounds. And the best type of transcendental sound is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the holy names of Krishna in general. So therefore, the chanting of Krishna's names, especially the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is the essence of devotional service. It is the essence of the 9 processes of devotional service. If we are doing our japa nicely, and what it means to be doing nicely, I'll speak about in a few moments. But if we are doing our process of japa properly, then we should know that included in that is all the 9 processes of devotional service, and also that when we actually finish our chanting of minimum 16 rounds, then we will be able to do all other services and all other activities in our life very nicely also. So the chanting of our japa is the most important devotional activity in our daily life. I have this one slogan that I have coined, like a sutra. Sutra is an aphorism, something that is spoken very briefly and precisely, and which is that if you do this one thing right, everything else will be all right. This one thing is japa. So I will repeat that. If you do this one thing right, everything else will be all right. And we notice this in our life, that when we do not chant properly, that something goes wrong in the day. Something or the other happens that is not right. We get into some argument with somebody, or somebody says something to us that disturbs our mind. Something we want to accomplish doesn't get accomplished. So many problems start, getting into our life. So when we don't chant, then things just don't work out. But when we chant the holy names, then things start happening. And essentially, because happiness, as we have heard from Srila Prabhupada, is a matter of consciousness, when we chant the holy names in our japa properly, our consciousness is proper. And therefore, we're able to see everything in a very positive frame of mind. We see things in a Krishna conscious perspective when we have chanted the holy names properly. And also somehow by some mystical process, things happen. Of course, Krishna will also test us. And we should not think that because I have chanted and everything is supposed to happen nicely, and because things have not happened in the way that I wanted, therefore it's not working, and therefore I should give up chanting. It's not like that. Krishna will also test us. And sometimes he will make sure that things don't work, because he wants us to go deeper into the process of chanting our japa, because he wants us to take deeper shelter of the holy name. That is why we see in the lives of associates of Krishna, great devotees in history like Prahlad, or like Haridas Thakur, or like the Brajvasis, they also had to undergo so many difficulties. But these difficulties were not the result of their karma or something, because they are not on the material platform. Those difficulties were the special arrangements of Krishna that were meant to show the world that we should not stop taking shelter of Krishna even in the midst of great difficulties. So when difficulties come in our life, we see, at least I have seen personally, that devotees tend to reduce their japa or give up their japa in anxiety and frustration. And when we ask them, what happened? Why have you reduced your chanting? Oh, I have so many problems in my life. But that is all the more reason why you have to chant even more. You know, when a patient has some diseases, and when the disease increases, it is not an occasion to stop the medicine. It is an occasion to increase the medicine or perhaps take it more diligently, right? So in the same way, when we are undergoing a difficult phase in our life, it means that we should chant our japa even better, with more attention, more diligence, with greater devotion, greater surrender, with the spirit of taking shelter of Lord Krishna, instead of reducing the japa. So therefore, Krishna is giving these great devotees these troubles in order to demonstrate to all of us how these great devotees are taking shelter of the holy name in times of difficulty. And they don't lose their faith. They don't stop their devotional activities because of difficulties. So, our chanting of the holy name should be our ultimate refuge in times of difficulty and in good times also. So, it's not that we take shelter only when things are going badly for us. We should also take shelter when things are going well for us. Ultimately, what is good and what is bad, it's all a figment of our imagination. You see, in the material world, good and bad are dualities that arise due to material conceptions of life. Ultimately, only Krishna consciousness is all good, and absence of Krishna consciousness is all bad from the absolute platform. So, whether things are good or bad, we should try to keep in mind that I have to take shelter of the holy name. I have to chant Japa. Whenever you feel upset, whenever you are angry, you are disappointed, you are disheartened, you are very hurt by with what somebody has said, then just sit down with your bead bag, sit down and chant peacefully for some time. And I assure you, you will feel much better. Every day, Krishna will send in some or the other occasion for us to get disturbed in life. Every single day it will happen. We should not think that now because I've started chanting the holy name, no disturbances will come in my life. No, that will not happen like that. When it happened, when the disturbances came for Prahlad and Brajavasis and Haridas Thakur, who are we? But we have to understand it in the right way. This is an occasion to take deeper shelter of the holy name. So we should just sit with our japa and just chant. When we just chant, automatically the fog in the mind clears. And we start thinking in a clear-headed fashion. And clear-headed means that there is no Maya there. Then it's only Krishna. And then we realize, oh, actually, this is Krishna's arrangement for my good. Actually, this is something nice that has happened. And now I'm no longer disturbed about this situation. So automatically, we start feeling relief from the pain or the anxiety or the frustration or the anger that we may be going through. And sometimes when things go well in our life, apparently, on the external platform, we should not become complacent and overconfident, thinking that, oh, now everything is going okay because I'm doing everything right. So the moment we get complacent, Krishna will suddenly send something else. So even during the phase when everything is going nicely in our life, we should not let down our guard. We should not succumb to complacency and false confidence. We should continue that tempo of taking shelter of the holy name. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada often said that we should chant the holy names like a child cries for its mother. So this is a very important analogy to keep in mind. What are the characteristics of a child crying for its mother? The most important characteristic is helpless dependence. The child has nobody else to go to. And the moment the mother comes near the child is pacified. So similarly, in our life, our doctors and our lawyers and our family members and our money and all these other people and facilities will have only limited efficacy or limited potency in helping us solve our problems. I'm not saying that we should not take help from these sources. When it comes to it at a practical level, we should do it. Go to a doctor when you're sick, no problem. But remember that the ultimate refuge is our chanting. Now, since I just mentioned the topic of health, every one of us has some or the other health issue. Something or the other will come up. So, does it mean we don't go to a doctor? Yes, we may go. But we should not be overly conscious of these things. We should know that the ultimate medicine is our chanting. So, this reminds me of one nice verse which I was mentioning the other day in another session. A nice verse spoken by King Kulashekar, one of the great devotees, Alvars. And he says, Idam shariram shatasandhi jarjaram patatyavashyam parinama peshalam kim oshadhim prichasi murdurmate niramayam krishna rasayanam piba. He says that this body, idam shariram, shatasandhi jarjaram, it is full of thousands of joints that get, uh, shall we say, immobile. And uh, when the vata in the body gets, aggravated, then the joints start becoming painful and very, very, very inconvenient. Patatyavashyam, destruction of the body is inevitable. Parinama peshalam, the beauty of this body is fleeting. It will last only for a few years. Therefore, kim oshadhim prichasi, why are you asking constantly medicine, 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 going to the doctor all the time? I want this, I want that medicine. Moodha durmate. So Kulashekar speaks sometimes a little strongly. And he says, oh, foolish person, oh, one whose durmate, whose intelligence has been spoiled, why are you constantly asking for medicine, medicine? Krishna, Niramayam Krishna Rasayanam Piba. Piba, so you drink this medicine, Rasayana, of Krishna, which is Niramayam, which will keep you, it's like a prophylactic, it will keep you free from all illnesses, the fundamental illness of Bhavaroga, the illness of this material world, it will get rid of it for you. So therefore, accept the medicine of Krishna Nama, the Krishna Rasayana. So please remember, whenever there is difficulty in life, especially just sit with your beads and chant. And you can chant anywhere. And even if somehow you don't have your beads with you, just chant. Chant to yourself. Even if you're in a position where you cannot loudly chant, verbally chant, chant in your mind or chant softly, but chant. And this chanting of your japa will actually give you freedom from whatever negativity that you are going through at this time. It is what we call the Ram Ban Upai. Upai means the remedy. The Ram Ban means the bow of Ram, because it is unfailing. Whenever Lord Ram shoots his arrow, it unfailingly meets its target and achieves its objective. So similarly, when we take sincere shelter of our chanting of the holy names, it will unfailingly give us relief. And our faith will be strengthened, and we will feel positive even in the midst of negative circumstances. So remember, whether things are good or whether things are bad, just pick up your beads, chant, and everything will be all right. So do this one thing right, and everything will be all right. So I think we're almost at 7:50. Okay, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Do you have time to take a few questions, Maharaj?
Yes, yes.
If anybody has any question, you could please raise your hand. unmute yourselves and please ask. Looks like
Most of these devotees are in Moscow now or all over the world now.
all over the world now, Maharaj.
So nobody is in Moscow anymore.
Nobody here is in Moscow anymore. Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Actually, I know why, because they are all in the spiritual world. Because they are chanting their japa nicely. So when one is chanting one is chanting the holy name nicely, then one is not in the material world.
Only Moscow is the material world.
No, anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, I think
Even whether it is Bombay or Delhi, Bangalore, London, America, wherever we are, if we are chanting, we are in the spiritual world.
There's Shubvilas Prabhuji with us. Prabhuji wanted to ask Maharaj any question.
I ask Maharaj blessings so I can do better chanting. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Maharaj.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Shubhavilas Prabhu. That blessings will come from Srila Prabhupada and from holy name. So please continue your chanting and everything auspicious will happen.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes, please.
So my question is,
Sharma, can you please turn on your video so Maharaj can see you?
Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah, my question is, I think I understand so well from your explanation. Basically, for any problem, and if you have a desire or no desire, whenever you face any problem, sit and chant with or without beats, and it purifies your consciousness. And from that consciousness, I think the right thought will come, which may not fully solve the problem, but definitely you will be able to move forward or live with that problem without being perturbed, right, Prabhuji? So it appears like there is a lot of positive strength we'll be gaining by repetitively doing that. So what we will experience in that ultimate state, let's say we realize that and we chant 64 rounds every day, then what will be the ultimate experience we get? We'll be able to transcend above these three modes. And yeah, I just wanted to understand what we'll be experiencing in the end when we keep doing as per your suggestion. Prabhuji, is
in one phrase, it is called Krishna. Yes, the question is clear. In one phrase, the answer is Krishna Prem. What do we hope to achieve? Ultimately, as we attain perfection, it is love of God, love of Krishna. The goal of chanting our japa is not to help us cope with our problems. It is just an incidental thing. That is temporarily because we are so preoccupied with our material problems. So we need this at this time as a way out. But this is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal of chanting our japa is to become pure devotees of Krishna, to attain love, pure love. Okay? That is called prayojana. Okay. So, all right. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with all of you. My best wishes. And please continue your devotional activities and your, is it a daily activity or a weekly one? Sunday ones?
Sri Gaur Prabhu will be able to tell this better, but they do meet every day for japa. I don't know if Sri Gaur Prabhu is here.
Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam. We meet every day for japa, for chanting for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and every Sunday we have this japa talk for half an hour, Maharaj.
Okay. Very good, very good. Okay. So one devotee is asking, according astrology, getting devotees difficult? Please bless me to get good devotee. I presume you are asking about marriage prospects and getting a husband. This is what I presume from the question. You know, they say in English, marriages are made in heaven, no? So for us, it is not heaven, not Swarga, but what we want to say is that ultimately it's in your destiny, what happens. Who we get as a life partner, you know, is something that is there in our destiny, our prarabdha. So just pray to Krishna and let devotees around you, your elders, etc., try to look for appropriate matches for you around in the devotee community. And we will pray that Krishna may kindly, Radharani and Krishna may kindly send you a right match so that you can continue lifelong in a stable situation doing your Krishna consciousness. Okay? Do not become disheartened, just go on and take help from the devotees, the senior devotees. Hare Krishna.
There's one more question in the chat box, Maharaj.
Regarding inattentive extra rounds, helpful or counterproductive? See, there is always a question of good, better, and best. So best is when you chant and chant and chant and you chant very purely. But if you can't do it at that standard, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't chant. Keep chanting anyway. Do the best you can. If you're chanting extra rounds, very good. And if your extra rounds, you're not able to chant them very attentively, do the best you can. Try to chant as attentively as you can. Okay? So essentially, pray to Krishna, pray to the holy name to help you chant as well as possible. Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Okay.
In a lot of your time. Thank you very much for agreeing to come, despite so many engagements that you have. We're very, very grateful to you. But I can see a lot of others have unmuted. I presume that they wanted to just thank Maharaj.
Yeah, just want to thank Maharaj for your time, Maharaj. It is really great pleasure, and it will undoubtedly help all of us to improve our chanting and spiritual life. Thank you.
His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj ki jai.
Jai, jai,
Yeah.
Shri Prabhupada ki
jai, jai, jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari
Best wishes to all of you. Hari Bol.
Thank you,
Thank
Maharaj.
you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Pranam.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare